Hello, this is Jim Duff with JDE and Associates. We get to help contractors succeed. In this video, we would like to discuss the value of 2%. Now, 2% doesn't sound like a lot, but in our view, it's a tremendous amount. One of the things that we believe is that when we're trying for improvement, we try to improve in small steps. A 0.5% here, a percent there. I think it all adds up. And I think that when you're trying to improve in small percentages, that your odds of success are greater. So I would like to try for that 0.5% improvement, perhaps 1% improvement. And then once I get that, then keep on to the next item and try to get another 0.5%, another percent. Over time, you're going to become so efficient that your profits are going to skyrocket. Now, this isn't something that's going to happen overnight, but it will happen, and it will be pretty much set in concrete, so it will be a permanent fix if there is such a thing in contracting. Now, to figure out this 2% difference, you really have to start with labor burden. What are you paying your licensed electricians? Okay, well, the way I do my labor burden calculation is I do start with licensed electricians, and then everybody else is based off of that, a percentage off the licensed electrician. So I'm going to use $26 an hour on the check as a base pay. Some of you will be higher than that, some of you will be lower. This again has to be taken into consideration, because not only is the pay different, but a lot of times the fringe benefits are significantly different. The fringe benefits that I have used is a lot of contractors, they pay these fringe benefits. Some do, some don't, some are lower, some are higher. Again, this is a comparison. It's a comparison that I think all contractors should make. So once I click on that $26, you will see that that $26, when it's all said and done, costs that contractor, based off the insurance and taxes and the fringes that are shown here, to be $48.90 an hour. Don't let that bother you at this point. It may be high for you, it may be low, but again, this is just a comparison. Now, if you move over to the cap sheet, you will see that I have a fictitious job here, and this job has $20,450 in commodity material. Your day-to-day material, pipe, cable, wire, fittings, just your everyday run-of-the-mill material. Now, for my quotes, I'm going to go through and I'm going to put $10,000 for light fixtures. For a job of this size, that doesn't seem all that bad. For switchgear, I'm going to stick in $4,200. For fire alarm, I'm going to put in $5,200. Again, seems to fit. Now, I come up with $19,400 in quoted material and $20,450 in commodity material. I'm using a sales tax of 8%. Now, 8%. When I'm dealing with taxes, I want to know exactly what my taxes are going to be. Now, 8%. Let's just move this from 8 to 7.75. So I'm cutting my tax by 1/4%. It'd be nice if I did it in the right spot. Okay. That change from 8% to 7.75 resulted in almost $100 savings. Now again, $100, it's not all that much money. However, this is one click of the mouse and it's one item, and an estimate is sometimes filled with thousands of items. Now let's see what that nearly $100 winds up when you get through with overhead and profit. Now if you look, you will see that originally we were at $139,938.58. Now we're $123.74 cheaper. Okay, so that $100 took on an extra $24 or thereabouts. That's a lot of money. That's a big change. Now, before I go back to 8%, what happens if this job is tax exempt? Well, if it's tax exempt, then it's zero tax. Let's see what that does to the overall cost. At that point, you just saved $3,959.50. That's huge. Now, if you make a mistake and put the taxes at 8% on a job that's tax exempt, you're probably not even going to be in the running. So that's a huge, huge issue. That's something that you have to make sure of. Now I'll tell you something about jobs that are tax exempt. Most jobs that are tax exempt have a tax exempt certificate. And you need to make sure and clarify that you are putting 0% taxes in because the bid documents tell you that it's tax exempt, but you also have to get a copy of that tax exempt certificate. This is a big issue. Okay. Now, you have 1,550 hours in this fictitious project, and the job itself is going to last for 2 months. Now, if it lasts for 2 months and it's all straight time, you're going to average 4.51 people over the duration of this 2 months. Good luck trying to get that guy that's 0.51. It's going to be tough to get. It's just a math situation, and it's not a big deal. Now, I have used a composite crew based off our experience, and you can see that I've put in 30% supervisor, I've put in 20% licensed electrician, I've put in another 25%, 80% apprentice, and I've put in another 25%, 60% apprentice. I put the level of people that I need to complete each project. There have been projects that I may have 10 or 15%, 80% apprentices, maybe another 50% journeyman, and the rest supervisor on a very technical job. It's happened to me somewhat frequently, not all that often, maybe 2 or 3 times a year. But this is how I break out my labor. Now I get a lot of people, and you could be one of them, that say, well, Jim, why don't you just put in 100% licensed electrician? Here's the reason. If I do that, I am increasing my cost by $6,164.45. Heck, I'm worried about 2%. That's a lot more than 2%. That's a deal breaker in most instances. I mean, if you can get away with it, more power to you. But the truth of it is, I've never been able to get away with it. This is why I use composite crews when I put my bids together. Now, I'm not going to put in non-productive and direct job expense and tools because this is just an illustration. This is something that you obviously need to have completed in your estimates if you expect to make the profits that you want. It's important that you have your true cost in your estimate. Now, The one thing I'm going to tell you is non-productive labor. Most commercial computer estimating systems have this in their cap sheets. Now, the truth of it is, mine does too. Both of my systems have it. I never will send a cap sheet with those words on it. Now, one of my systems, I can change the wording on the actual printed out document, and I call it management time. The reason is, for a number of years I was a chief estimator for a certified 8A minority contractor. We had to supply full estimates with the majority of our bids when we turned in our proposals. Well, if you've got non-productive labor, nobody, including the government, wants to pay for non-productive labor. So I just changed that to management time. It's amazing. You can put $5,000 in non-productive and they're going to squeal. You can put $15,000 on the same job, but have it under the guise of project management or management time, and they have no problem. It's perception. Doesn't matter what you call it, but it does matter what you're presenting to your clients. Now, if you come down here and you look, you will see that my subtotal is sitting in there at $112,671.96. I've got my overhead in, which adds another 16,979 cents. And I come up with a grand total after 8% profit of $139,938.58. Now, that 8%, everybody has a different benchmark for their profit, and I really don't try to get anybody convinced to do one level or another. Personally, I have a problem putting in a bid that I put in at less than 8%. Does that mean I've never gone in at less than 8%? I have many times. And most of the time I live to regret it. But that's a completely separate point. Now, let's take a look at what happens if we run our job a little bit more efficiently. Okay? Let's put this at 98%. Okay? At 98%, I'm saving 31 hours. Instead of 1,550, I'm at 1,519. Now, if you come down and you look at this, you will look to see that we're making an extra $1,729.71. That's great. We've increased our total take by 1.24%. Now, this is over the entire cost of the job. Not bad. I'll take an extra $1,700 every day of the week. Okay? Now, we can go the other way, and we can take that 98 and we can put that at 102. Well, the $1,700 is going to go the opposite direction. And you are, in fact, now going to lose $1,729. That's not so good. You know, your job is still somewhat profitable, but it's not as profitable as it should have been. Now, what steps result from a job that is going to beat the estimate by 2% versus the one that's going to use an extra 2% of its labor? Estimating has a lot to do with it. If the job isn't estimated properly, then it's really easy to lose on a project. Just for conversation's sake, let's say that the job was estimated well, maybe even extremely well. One of the issues that our field can have is that if the project manager doesn't aggressively manage their project, then we could wind up looking for materials when they're not there but needed. Maybe we don't get our fixtures in time, maybe switchgear is held up, maybe they didn't get their submittals in for approval quick enough. There's a whole list of reasons why a project manager may be behind times. Maybe it's the project manager's fault, maybe it's not. Our field can also contribute to this. As a matter of fact, our field a lot of times contributes to this. If the supervisor doesn't plan out what is ahead of themselves. Now, I believe in a 3-week look-ahead schedule, and I believe that the project manager and the supervisor, after a turnover meeting from the estimator to the project manager and the field supervisor, I think that they should complete the first 3-week look-ahead schedule. Because by this point, I would hope that the project manager understands the job at least as well as the supervisor, if not a whole lot better. So what better time to utilize two key components to this job, that would be the project manager and the supervisor, and build the first 3-week schedule. After that, every week I want that supervisor to not only show what did get completed, but then the first week would be gone and they can add a new 3rd week. Every week this gets updated. Well, guess what? A really good time to ask questions, RFIs, or to let the office know that you either need more labor or need to get rid of a few guys, or order more material, order or release more material. So you're always looking ahead of yourself 2.5 weeks ahead of time. How nice would that be, instead of having phone calls every day for material or information or added labor that you need tomorrow? This would be great, I believe. Now, I hope this is beneficial to you, but I do have one other area that I want to kind of go over. This area, I want to change this 2% back to 100%, 102% back to 100%. What I want to discuss are oops runs. Now, oops runs are just what it sounds like. Oops, I forgot to order this. Oops, I forgot to, we ran out of this, we ran out of that. Oops runs are by and large because our supervisor or project manager didn't plan ahead. The way this is set up is I'm going to send a 70% apprentice. Well, I didn't use a 70% apprentice on the estimate, so let's say that I'm going to send a 60%. I have a little bit of a problem sending a 60%, but just to keep the cost low, that's where I'm going to put this. I probably would have sent the 70, to be honest. To look at this, how long is it going to take that apprentice to go from the job site to the wholesale house, wait for them to order, fill the order, and then get back to the job site? I've got 1.25 hours. In my experience, that's extremely fast. Almost ridiculously fast. How far is it to the wholesale house? 7 miles. Well, that's one way. If I knew how to spell way, that would be really nice, but it's supposed to say way. What happened to the morale issue because you didn't have the material that was needed on the job site? Well, I've just stuck that in at 20%. In all honesty, I believe it's a whole lot higher than 20%. I think it's closer to 50 or 60%. But again, in the interest of keeping the cost low, so I don't exaggerate, I'm going to leave it at 20%. Lost productivity. Now, first off, the person that went, that's 100% lost productivity, and so they really should be doing something else. You had planned on them to do something else. But what about the productivity loss for the other people that also need that material? That has to be considered. I've put in 75%. I think that's way low. Now, the overhead is the same 15% that was in the estimate. And the profit, I brought the profit down to 5%. This again is an artificial means to keep this price low. But if you look, the cost to do this OOPS run is $114.55 for every run. Now, what this doesn't include is the wholesale house that you're going to be going to take care of this OOPS run probably isn't the wholesale house that you get your very best prices from. So I can't quantify what your added cost would be, but I wouldn't be surprised if you have to add another $25, $30, $50, $100 to that $114. But that's an unknown, and there's a chance that you could get your best prices slim, however it may be. Now, if you go back to the cap sheet, this particular job is going to run for 2 months. So let's just say that you've got 4 weeks per month. You actually have 4.3, but we'll use 4. Let's just say that you're going to have, let's say that you're going to have 2 OOPS runs a week. Now, in my experience, 2 OOPS runs a week, I've seen 2 OOPS runs on average per day. So by using 2 per week, that's not bad. So 2 times 8 is 16. So I'm going to stick 16 in here. Okay. That just cost you $1,832.80. The truth of it is, I believe it costs you a lot more than that, but I hope you get the idea. Now, when you come back, you will see that your costs, your total estimated cost was supposed to be $139,938.58. In fact, it's $142,214.91. Or you've just lost $2,276.33. Now, you don't want to include overhead and profit? Fine. If you go to the subtotal before overhead and profit, the amount that you have lost is $1,832.80. But trust me, you do need to add the full overhead, and I believe you have to add the profit as well. So there's a $400 swing between the two of those, $440 swing. So if you want to go that way, you can. I hope this is valuable for you. Hope it gives you something to think about. I hope you do think about it because it's important. Now, we teach, but there's a lot of things that we do that are actually for free. They're all meant to try to get you to come into classes eventually. For us to say that they're not would be nonsense. But we're willing to take the first step. We're willing to invest in you before you invest in us. The first thing that we do is we put out a weekly newsletter. It's free. Comes out every Monday or Tuesday. And all you have to do is go to our website and put in your name, your email address, your contact information, and then ask for a copy of the email, the newsletters to be sent to you. You are going to get some advertisements from time to time. We do give some discounts that are exclusive to our newsletter subscribers. And you can unsubscribe at any time. It's not a big deal to me. The second thing that we offer is that we do offer a free one-time per contractor webinar/telephone call. And if you would like that, this isn't your typical sales call by any means. What we will do is you can contact us. You do have to have a computer with high-speed wired internet. and a telephone. I would hope you have a couple of pads of paper so you can take some notes and tell us 2 or 3 things that you would like to discuss. 3 is kind of stretching it for an hour and 15-minute webinar, but it's possible. We will set it up, schedule it with you, and we will give it to you. It's a free issue. What we're doing is showing you how we teach. Not only is the content of what we teach important, but how we teach it is also very important. Anyhow, if any of that's of interest to you, you can always reach me. My telephone number is 970-231-5423. Email address is jim@jde-associates.com. Website is www.jde-associates.com. I hope this has been valuable for you, and I hope today is very profitable for you. I hope the whole year is profitable for you. Thank you. Have a great day.